Hi there, everybody. It's Kristen Redmond, and today we're going to be talking about what the astrological skies have in store for the month of April in 2024. Now, here we go, starting out April, and we are moving into Taurus season. Taurus season is a time where we're really focused on the tangible and the practical in our lives. We're looking at our finances. We're looking at how things are fleshing out for us in work. We're looking at our health. We're looking at everything that we hold a value to us, right? And what we consider to be our safety zone, our comfort zone or safety zone. That's what Taurus is about, right? It's about all things practical and tangible and making sure that we feel safe and secure. Now, Uranus has been moving through Taurus since 2018, and it's been really shaking up the foundations of what we see as our comfort zones, as what we see of the foundations under our feet. And it's really been calling us to question what it is that we value now and how we're really living up to walking our walk to make sure that we're living a true and authentic life, right? The more that we do that, the more that can come in for us. And so here we go, starting into Taurus season of this year, and we have some pretty major things happening. First and foremost, right, speaking of where our mind is thinking things and how we're moving forward and walking our talk, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, that's starting out April 1st in retrograde. Now, I know Mercury retrograde gets a bad rap everywhere, right? Yes, of course, it is a time when communication is offline, right? So the internet's a little jacked up and a little bit wonky. Emails don't send, calls don't go through. You think that you hit send on something and it doesn't, right? You thought you purchased that wonderful item in the TikTok shop and all of a sudden it sold out, even though it said that it was there when you hit the button to send it. But whatever, long and short of it, there are always electronic mishaps that happen in that time frame. It's notoriously a time where we don't really want to sign contracts, right? Not saying that you can't. You just have to look at the fine print because Mercury rules all things communication, whether it's written or verbal or what we're thinking in our minds. And so we start out with this Mercury retrograde in Aries. Now, when Mercury is in Aries, that's when our words are a little bit sharper. That's when our thoughts are coming through a little bit quicker. And there may not necessarily be a filter between what we're thinking and when we say it. Now, when we're doing a retrograde gives us a chance to look to the past at how things have worked for us and how they may not be working for us now. And so we're starting out this Taurus season about moving forward into our new comfort zones, looking to the past, right? Mercury retrograde, at how our actions, maybe our impulsiveness, maybe our inability to be patient, or maybe where we did not have the courage on the other side of Aries to really say what it is we need to say, or even admit to ourselves what it is we need to do to get our feet moving forward. Now, that's the base of this month, right? We're starting that out. We have this 3-week period until the 25th when we're really able to look back on our thoughts and how we create our reality into being, right? But so there's that undercurrent. Here we go, right? And we're moving into one of the most major eclipses. I'm sure you've heard about this one, that any of us have really been able to see in our lifetimes. Now, I know that this eclipse is bringing up some very interesting things online, right? You have to keep in mind that we've had eclipses 3-4 times a year, every year since the dawn of time, right? And back in those ancient times, our ancestors saw this time frame when the sun was blocked out by the moon, that the earth was being reborn, that there was death that was occurring, that major changes and shifts were occurring because of these things, because they didn't know what was really occurring. And so for them, the gods were asking them to make sacrifices in order to move forward into whatever it was they were doing. Now, here we are in reality, this time, this season in the world, right? And we understand what eclipses really mean, right? That's when that moon is becoming between us on the earth and the sun, so it blocks it out. But that doesn't mean death. That doesn't mean that the world is going to end because the sun disappears for a couple of hours, right? What eclipses are is they are portals and they are gateways. As astrologers, we look to see where the eclipses every year hit in your chart, because that's where the old and the outdated needs to go and the new beginnings are trying to come in for you, whatever house that eclipse lands in your chart. For all of us, here we go into this Aries eclipse. This is a new moon eclipse. New moons equal new beginnings, and eclipses equal new beginnings. So here we have this gateway for a lot of new that's trying to come through. New that's trying to come through based off of how much we are trying to live true to this authentic life, finding these new footings under our feet, right? That Uranus has so unexpectedly brought upon us since 2018. This is going to be a gateway of transformation. And why I say that is because the things, if we're really seeing them in eclipses, I always say they're like billboards from the universe. They are showing us what needs to change in order for these new beginnings to come through. So if you're ready for transformation, all the things that have been coming to the surface, if you're ready to find the courage to get your feet moving, to make these transformations happen, you're going to have the most powerful energy to do it at the eclipse, right? On April 8th. This is where it's strong. At the same exact time, we have that Aries sun aligning with Chiron out there in the skies. And what Chiron is it's an asteroid, and it represents our life's greatest wounds, the wounds that we grow from, right? Because growth and transformation isn't easy. It's a difficult process. And a lot of times we have to work through the difficulties of healing from our wounds. And that is what Chiron is all about. And what are the odds that we have the biggest eclipse of our time frame going over the United States? So that's telling us that the US is going to be going through such a transformation because the eclipse path of totality is going through there. We're going through it on a personal level too. We are ready for these transformations because we are looking at where we have been wounded and how we are ready to no longer be victims to those wounds, right? We are ready for the new beginnings that come by letting go of the hurts of the past, growing and transforming from them, right? That's a huge thing. Now, another thing that goes into this with April, right? It's not that we just have this amazing eclipse that's bringing all these things up, right? These epiphanies and these sudden realizations of what it is we need to do to make these changes. On April 21st, we have another rare occurrence that's occurring where Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is going to be aligning with Uranus, the planet of unpredictable, unexpected things. That is that planet, remember, in Taurus that's been happening since 2018, where it's trying to radically change things in our lives so that we can move into the new, right? Uranus rules all things that have to do with technology. It rules those things that have to deal with sudden insights. And so when you have it aligning with Jupiter once every 12 to 14 years, it has us kind of in a global aha moment, right? On a global scale, all the way down to a personal scale. And so where it happens on a global scale, of course, is, we are trying to expand and grow, right? As a whole, we're rebuilding the world as we know it. And Jupiter's trying to really help push us into these new areas of growth. Now, what is it that Uranus in Taurus means? Taurus is a sign that deals with health. It deals with the economy. It deals with the weather patterns. So thinking of that, we have had these unexpected shifts and changes that have been occurring in those areas since 2018, haven't we? Unexpectedly. So where they can really unexpectedly bring losses, they can also unexpectedly bring gains. So I see this on April 21st when this all goes down. We're going to be having maybe some unexpected things that come through on a global scale where we are learning maybe there's some new things happening in the world of finances. Maybe there's some major shifts and changes with how we're doing those things. This is a time frame where, Maybe there's some unexpected weather patterns that are going to be surfacing in that time frame, because this doesn't happen all the time, right? And we've already seen what it's been doing since 2018. So to have Jupiter bringing this on, and Jupiter magnifies whatever it touches, I'm going to be very curious to see if there's some sort of announcement with a major economic shift that's going to be happening. Maybe there's an announcement, there's a weather pattern that's going to be happening. I know there's been a lot of talk of solar flares and all of these things as well. Those are always unexpected and unpredictable. I mean, I know that we can to an extent, but with Jupiter being involved, you just never know. Maybe there is something that comes up. Even if these things happen, right? I really want to reiterate, right, that we don't want to be ruled by fear. Even in the worst of times, when things do happen, right, that we're not expecting, there's ultimately growth and change that comes out of that rubble from the disruption and the chaos that ensues. Even if something does happen, right, we need to know that the universe has had this plan way longer than we realize, and that there is something better on the other side of it. That's why all these things are happening at such a major eclipse, right? This is when the epiphanies happen. This is when the change happens. This is when the transformation happens. And it's not easy, right? Think of it like a caterpillar to a butterfly. When a caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it doesn't just sprout some dang wings and become a brand new being. No, it has to go through a painful process where it actually deconstructs itself. It liquefies. And that way in the cocoon, it can form into the new being that is known as the butterfly, its real self, its authentic self. We're doing this in this energy right now, not just on a personal level of transformation, where we are reassessing the things that we value, right? That's what Taurus is about. We're reassessing what we value in order to live a more authentic life, right? That's what we always do when we want to make change and transformation. We look to see where we're stuck and we're stagnant. And where we're stuck and we're stagnant, maybe it's because we are stuck in old beliefs, old feelings that, well, let's use something as an example, like I value having, my time to myself. You know what I mean? I really just want to be able to have time to myself so I can focus on building myself. But let's say you want to transform and move and get yourself out there in the world to start a business, right? Now you're realizing that maybe that time to yourself was a value from 5 years ago, but you don't necessarily value it as much now, because what you value more is being able to move into your purpose. You are ready to make the changes, right? You're valuing your authenticity over that comfort, right? We are all reassessing the things that we value in order to move forward. That's something that's happening right now. And these eclipses show us. They make it very obvious. Even though these things can come through unexpectedly, it's not something that you haven't been thinking about, right? These are things that you've already had thoughts on. And where these alignments happen, maybe they bring those opportunities through unexpectedly, and we have to know when to jump on it, right? Opportunity is Jupiter. Unexpectedness is Uranus. And having that courage to jump is an Aries. And when you put them all together, look at where we're at. That's everything we've been talking about. So I would say this month, keep an eye out for those opportunities. The things that are really asking you to trust what your gut is telling you and to act on it. And another thing I keep saying to people, right, is in this time frame, there is a lot of fear that is being pushed about, right? We have to trust that we have all of the resources inside of us, that we are going to know how to act if we need to, right? Every step of the way gets lit up for us along the path of life. And so these eclipses are reminding us of that, especially when we have this full moon at the end of the month. That's on the 25th. Or on the 23rd, I'm sorry. This is right after this, whatever unexpected opportunities that come through with Jupiter and Uranus aligning. Full moons are a time where we release the things that don't work for us. And this is going to be the Scorpio full moon. So Scorpio really asks us, what do we need to let go of? That's what Scorpio means, in order to move forward in the tangible and the practical. That's its opposing side of Taurus. There's Taurus again, like we were talking about, right? when we have this full moon, we're really looking at the pains and the wounds of the past and how they limit our belief system, they limit our ability to move forward out of fear, and how we can conquer that and transform that and to move into the area of abundance that we want. That's what Taurus wants us to do. But in order for that to happen, Scorpio asks us what needs to be released. And what better time to release the things that don't work than the full moon, right? So pay attention in that full moon time frame. Are there certain reoccurring issues that keep coming up in that time frame that you are ready to let go of? It's going to make itself known. This is the time frame when we can really do that and we can really start moving forward. These things are already getting to be illuminated, right? With everything that we had kind of talked about earlier in this area. So I think the major theme of this month, right, is be open to change. Be open to the transformation that's happened, because ultimately, from a personal level all the way to a global scale, we are getting pushed out of these comfort zones because progress is on the side of something that we have not done yet, right? And these are these unexpected, weird opportunities that may pop up for us, whether it's work or relationship or whatever, you name it, right? We just have to know what our soul is telling us, if it resonates with us, and when to act, right? We have a lot of things happening this month that are going to help lead that way, light each step of the way as well. So everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again.